Welcome to Real Stories MKE, part of X-Fabula's work to connect Milwaukee through real stories. I'm Joel Dresang.
And I'm Kim Shine. Everybody has personal stories worth sharing, and X-Fabula fosters storytelling through workshops where folks explore their stories and build their skills. X-Fabula hosts story slams also where true tales get shared on stage. In this episode of Real Stories MKE, we are sharing 4 of those valuable stories.
That's right. Our theme in this episode is money. For what it's worth, we live in a capitalist society. Money matters. Life can be challenging without it, but at the same time, plenty of us are resourceful beyond our means. Money can help us afford moments that become experiences we'll never forget, and in some cases, money, or the lack of it, teaches us valuable lessons.
Well, I already told you that money stresses me out.
Yeah, but it's more in the past tense, right? It's
more so in the past tense, but it's always in the back of my mind that something is going to happen and I'm going to be broke and have no money and not be able to care for myself. So it is crazy.
Well, I think that's healthy to a degree.
Yeah?
Actually, yeah. So, I mean, one of my money anecdotes was when I was in high school. My first girlfriend was like a year older than I was. I was 15, 16. And I wasn't her first boyfriend. She had older boyfriends before. And we went out for like a couple of months or something, and she broke up with me, and she explained that she needed to go out with a boy who had a car and had money and stuff, and I was like, well,
But I'm a good person.
it wasn't anything about me. It was about, what was in my wallet. And then after that, I got a job, and then I didn't have any time for going out with women. So
yeah, I wonder if she looked back when you got the job and said, man, I wish I was with him now.
No,
Maybe
I
she's
was
listening. You missed out.
I was working in a kitchen in a KFC. She wasn't after that money. Well, let's get to our first story here. A risky way of making money is by gambling, betting on uncertainties. And there's an expression among gamblers, put your money where your mouth is, which is what Emmett James did in this story he shared at an event in 2023. Here's Emmett.
So, though I don't look it, at the top of this year, I turned 30 years old. Jamae, relax. She said, damn. Relax. And so as I get older, I don't know about you guys, but as I get older, the more and more I think it's important to focus on the things that are really important to you. You know what I'm saying? So for different people, that's different things. What I'm learning is for some people, that's their pets, their jobs, their kids, their vacation time, their professions or their careers. And for me lately, it's been dental care. Y'all laughing, but I'm one of those people who think that dental care truly is self-care. You know what I'm saying? But it's been a, what'd you say? Yeah. It's been a journey though. Is it just me or do y'all beef with y'all dentists too? You never almost had to curse your dentist out? Never had to squabble with your different dentists? Translation, squabble just mean fight, a fisticuffs. So I want to tell y'all about the time I almost, keyword almost, cursed my dentist out. Is that cool? All right. In order to tell you that story, we got to go back in time to November 2018. I was living in Los Angeles, tiny-ass apartment, me and my ex-girlfriend. So in LA, everything is expensive. So the rent expensive, going out is expensive, just breathing is expensive. So on this particular night, we didn't go out. We was in our house just vibing because vibes are free at the crib, you know what I'm saying? So I don't remember what we was talking about, but I remember revealing to my ex-girlfriend at the time, this is before Jamae, sorry Jamae. I remember telling her it had been 10 years since I've been to the dentist. She said something like that. Her exact words were actually, oh my God, you have cavities. She said that immediately, and I was like, no, I'm an adult. I got bills and shit. Student loans. I don't got cavities. I'm a grown-ass man. But she said, since you're so sure about that, let's make a bet. Now, on the north side of Milwaukee, when somebody says bet, before y'all discuss further details, you just say bet back. Let's try it, bet. So we made a bet. She was like, for every cavity you have, you owe me $30. And so I'm thinking to myself, this is the quickest $30 I ever made. You should just sell it to me now. And she was like, no, But how will we know if you have cavities? I was like, this is a bet. That's right. That's right. She said, for every cavity you have, you owe me $30. So I did what all mature adults do. I grabbed my laptop. I made sure the Wi-Fi was connected. And made sure the Wi-Fi was connected. And I got a Groupon for a light cleaning for $24. Fast forward the story. I go to the Groupon dentist. He examines my mouth, and he immediately tells me I have 3 cavities. I'm absolutely terrified. Not because of the cavities, because that was the quickest $90 I ever lost in my whole entire life. Now, I don't know about you, but if $90 just left my account today, that'd throw my whole budget off for 7 months, minimum. So I was fucking terrified. But he continues to give me bad news. He says, hey, I know you came here for a light cleaning, but bro, you need a deep cleaning. That's a little extra more bread. Then he gave me more bad news. He says, for each cavity, it's gonna be $271. Bringing your balance to $1,400. Mind you, I got a Groupon for $24. I didn't come in here to hear the word balance. So when he told me that, I said the devil is a lie. Because when I hear shit that I don't like, I just say the devil is a lie. You should try it. Might not change nothing, but it'll make you feel better. And he saw that the look on my face and that I was getting more upset, and he tried to calm me down. He said, okay, listen, for you today, I can do this for you. Sound like he was about to give me a deal. I said, Doc, talk to me. He said, for you today, we could take the $24 and deduct it from the $1,400, no problem. And in that moment, I almost slapped that's my story about the time I almost cursed my dentist out. Thank you.
That was Emmett James. He told that story as part of After Dark for the Culture, which is an occasional collaboration between Exfabula and Hyphen, Radio Milwaukee's urban alternative radio station. And we have an update from Emmett, who is a Milwaukee-based hip-hop and jazz artist. He said, this story is inspired by real-life events that have inspired an EP series, one called Jazz Cavities, and a sequel dubbed, I like this one, Jazz Cavities 2. This could be us, but you don't brush.
I could see the memes that could come with that, the social media memes. I really enjoyed his story. Obviously, you know, I work for Hyphen. I've said that I think a few times on the podcast. So I got to see this live, which I thought about you.
I was there too, yeah.
Yeah, because you see a lot of the stories live, which is awesome. And Emmett, he by himself is just a hilarious guy. But hearing this story and him talking about $1,400 for this bet, and then Groupon, when Groupon is supposed to make your life easier, it reminded me of so many things and put me in so many different spaces.
That's right. And sometimes you get what you pay for, right? Another money lesson.
I know. Well, our next money story touches on temptation and the belief that money is the root of all evil. That's what Justin Elin found out, as he explains in his story from an Exfabula Teen Story Slam. Here's Justin.
So this was like a year ago, but I'm gonna bring it up right now. It was a book fair. I was in 4th grade, and I really wanted money, but my mom said, nah, you can get books, I can buy them. But me, I'm pretty sneaky. So the night before the book fair, I decided to go inside, because I stayed up. I decided to go inside my mama's room. I seen a purse. I got happy. I hit the jackpot. So I go inside. I take probably $20 to $40, but I didn't know I grabbed the whole thing. So I walk back. I'm feeling happy right now, and then I go to sleep. It's time to wake up. I go to the book fair. My mama calls me and say, where did all my money go? I said, I don't know, because I didn't take, because I was asleep, and I came home with plenty of books. And she said, I thought you didn't have no money because I didn't give you none. And I said, oh, I had asked my dad for some money. Then she called my dad, and my dad said he never gave me no money. So I know I was stuck. So I went to my room. She came in and said, where did you get the money from? And I said, okay. don't get mad, but I took only like $20 to $40. She said, no, you didn't. You took all of my $80 in my purse. And she said, I was just booked at that point. I didn't know what to do. So my dad came and said, I never gave him no money. And I said, she said, that's what I'm talking about. Then I went to the living room to try to get on my game. And next thing you know, she turned it off and I'm on punishment. And now I can't do anything. I'm inside my house just bored. And then the next day, she returned all the books. She got her money back. And that's why you should never steal out your mom's purse.
And that was Justin Eland from a 2023 Teen Story Slam with the theme Spill the Tea. What'd you think?
It was great. Yeah, you be careful what you're what you're getting out of your mom's purse. That's
I
all
know.
say.
Well, so I remember the book fairs back in the day, the
Yeah.
Scholastic book fairs, and
Yes.
I'm telling you, I definitely was a reader back then. I like to do it now, but obviously when you're a kid, you've got a lot more time,
Sure.
and all the books are just so good. And I remember never necessarily having enough. I would have a whole bunch of books on my list and would have to choose, which was still good. But man,
He could buy a lot of books with that money.
he could have. Well, Joel, how about some ultra shorts?
Yes. Tell us again what those ultra shorts are.
So the ultra shorts are just very short stories written on a tiny piece of paper when folks don't want to get on stage, but they would like to participate and have a little bit of their story shared with the theme.
That's great. Yeah, and the MC reads it on stage so they don't even have to stand up and talk.
That's true.
That's right. I've got one here. It's from Anonymous. One time I bought a wallet. I was showing it off and someone asked, "Where's the money?" I replied, "I spent it on the wallet."
You need to work a little bit harder to get some money for that one.
Got a place to put it at least.
Right. This one is from Jack B. Vacation. Coming back from Florida family vacation, Dad spent all of his cash money in Tennessee on fireworks. Had to drive all the way back to Milwaukee without stopping for a hotel. Mom was not happy.
Kim, I've got another ultra short. It's from D. If you hang out in the barbershop long enough, you'll find out almost anything is for sale. I've been offered dogs, TVs, tapes, CDs, food, bootleg DVDs, you name it. But I learned the hard way to keep my money in my pocket. My personal copy of Shrek came complete with the couple in front of the bootleg videographer, center screen for the whole movie.
Oh my God. That is hilarious too. I have a memory from that as well. Growing up in Chicago, you would be at the gas station and you'd have folks selling CDs,
Right, sure.
DVDs, and stuff like that. And we bought a few of them in the past, and there were some where you could see the person all the way back, all the way in the back of the theater, and you could see all the seats and all the heads in front.
And hear people eating popcorn and all that
I mean,
stuff.
it took you right there.
Sure.
Okay.
You get what you pay for.
Right. Talk about an immersive experience.
Well, as we heard in our first money story from Emmett James, amusing stories can come out of our attempts to try to save a buck. Next, Patty Rosenberg tells us of the time she made an interesting romantic move to help her landlord save some money. Here's Patty.
So I was about 25 years old and home from college, and I got an apartment on the southwest side of Chicago where there were no men. And I worked as a social worker, so here I am living in this apartment on the second floor of this old house in the middle of nowhere, and there were skylights. One Saturday afternoon, I'm taking a shower, and I'm hearing this noise, and there's a skylight in my bathroom, and I see a foot, and I'm like, holy crap. And so I literally had to grab, in order to keep, if the foot saw me, I had to grab a shower curtain. So I grabbed the shower curtain, throw it around me, run out, and put some clothes on, and then there's a side skylight that you screw open. So I open the skylight, and I look out there, and there's this man, and sir, what are you doing at my roof? He goes, oh yeah, Mike wanted me to do the roof. And I said, oh. He goes, do you mind if I come in and take a look at the leaks? I said, sure. So he comes in, and he was nice enough, and he looks at the leaks, and he's kind of talking to me. He's young, kind of gruffy looking, and I said, okay, and he leaves. And then I get a call from my landlord that night, and the landlord goes, Patty, I get a 25% discount if you go out with the roofer. And I said, and I didn't tell him about the skylight thing, and I'm thinking, did he see me or did he not? Now, this is the big question. And I go, I don't know. He didn't look very good. And he goes, just talk to him on the phone. So the guy calls me. I talk to him on the phone. He goes, well, I just need this date for this thing, and if you don't mind, I know this, I'm a model. And I'm like, no way. And he goes, yeah, I'm a model, and my picture's going to be in this thing as Escabular nightclub in Chicago, and because the guy won a prize for my picture. And I'm like, fine, this is a great story. So he comes and he picks me up, and I'm like, and I get dressed nice, and he shows up, and he is 6'5". He is 200 of the finest pounds I'd ever seen. I mean, he's a bodybuilder. He is fabulous. And then he shows me the picture. And the picture is like, this is the day of Mad Max, the first Mad Max movie. And this guy's in leather pants, and he has no shirt on. He's sitting on a mountain, and he is hot. And I go, I don't know about you, but I want to go out with your friend here. That's who I have a crush on. And he goes, oh, okay. So anyway, so it all worked out. He really liked me. And then what happened, and we went out for a while. We went to this thing, and he was all over the place. But I was worried, and I kept saying to my friends, I'm just not sure about this guy. One, I didn't know if he saw me naked and what he likes me for, and two, is we don't have a lot to talk about. He just doesn't have a whole lot of interest in things. And so I just might have to, to break it off. And so anyway, what sealed it is on Valentine's Day, he decides, he says to me, he goes, I really have a special day for you. And I said, well, what are we going to do? And he goes, well, I thought first of all we'd watch the news together. And I'm like, watch the news together? He goes, well, you're just so smart. You always like to watch the news. I said, okay. And then as we go and watch the news, he brings me this present, and I open up the present, and it's a globe. And I go, what is this about? And he goes, well, you're the smartest person I know. He goes, I thought you'd like a globe. And I said, oh, this is just not going to work out. And he was crushed, but I broke up with him. So thank you. It's like,
That was Patty Rosenberg, who shared that story at a 2018 X-Fabulous Story Slam with the theme Crush.
So I laughed at her story, but I don't know if I would have done it.
What, broken up with the guy or actually agreed to go out in the first place?
Agreed in the first place. I don't know.
Yeah. So, Kim, I told you about my first job. What was your experience?
Oh man, I wish my job was at KFC because I loved the bowls. They were fantastic, and I love the wedges very much still.
You wouldn't have loved where I was working.
Well, my first professional job, I could not believe how much money I was not making. I said, I went to school and I chose this career only to be making, $25,000 a year?
Yeah.
And
this isn't a high school job.
Oh,
this
no.
is your job out of college.
this was after I got my master's.
Okay. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
This was after I got my master's
Sure.
degree. I got my first job, which was in television news,
Sure.
which I'm grateful for, most definitely, because here we are doing the podcast together. But yeah, I was so shocked that it was $25,000. And then I had met some other up-and-coming reporters who later told me that their first job would pay them $18,000 or $19,000.
Yes.
And I'm like, how can you live off of that? That is noodles every night. Thankfully, I do make more now, and with every job, I did get more and more money. But man.
Sure, but the low pay in those early years, as regrettable as it was, helps make you more frugal and appreciate it more as you go on.
I'm going to take that positive route from you.
Okay.
I am so frugal now.
Sure.
It is crazy. My friends over the years have made fun of me because of how frugal I am. They call me cheap.
Cheap, yes.
And I am okay with that because at this point, now that I make a little bit more money, I do know how to manage it to get more out of it, I'll say.
And the point is, when you had little money, you had better stories about it, right?
All right, so we have one final story, Joel.
Yes, we do. This story was from Angela McManaman,
Yeah.
Yeah, and for most Americans, home ownership is the biggest money commitment they'll ever make. And for Angela, the burden on her first house went beyond money. As she explains it, it came with unexpected costs and benefits. Here's Angela.
I had a 3-year-old son at my side and a 10-day-old baby. He weighed about as much as a bundle of papers in my arms. I'm asthmatic, excuse me. And when we walked up the front porch and we opened the door, I was excited until I looked around and I saw a 65-year-old man's entire life spread out before us in the living room. I cried because his faded cowboy prints were still on the wall. I cried because the area rugs he promised me he'd remove before we moved in were still on the floor. And I cried every time I opened a drawer in a kitchen or a bathroom and I found a collection of stubby yellow pencils or a rubber band ball or the White House Wives cookbook circa 1920. Turns out they cooked with a lot of lard in the White House back in the day. And I cried until my new baby started crying, and then I fed him, and I walked up the gleaming wooden stairs of our new home. And the second floor looked kind of like a dormitory, one long hallway with 3 large bedrooms opening up off the main hallway and a tiny bathroom. I opened the closets, and I cried again when I saw more of the previous owner's entire life in those closets than I ever expected to see, and things that I never expected to own. Old geometry notebooks from Marquette High School, wig stands, metal cots. And so I realized my first night in that new house would not be about moving me in. It would be about moving him out. When the rest of the family slept, even the newborn baby, I scrubbed the bathroom that he was sickened with cancer for years clean. And I don't know why I didn't see the dirt during the open house, but I didn't. But it took me 2 hours that night. And I got through the clearing of that house with the kindness of strangers. The sanitation department came twice for special collections. And I cried when the woman backed up the truck and I brought her brownies. And she cleared the entire concrete slab in our backyard of all of his possessions. They were mounted high. And she said, "Honey, that's our job. You don't have to cry." And when 2 pickup trucks full of Hmong gentlemen came to my house, I cried because they went to the basement and lifted up heavy old pieces of German furniture, and they carried it out the door. And I think the final straw was when I tried to give them a tiny little Christmas tree decorated with tinsel. Not my most culturally sensitive moment. So 8 years passed, and for all those 8 years, I carried the weight of that man's possessions with me. I don't quite know why. Was it postpartum? Was it the work? Was it how damn rude it was just to leave, most of your stuff in that house that he'd grown up in his entire life? So I started in places in the house that I'd never really been before as I began to clear it and prepare it for the next owners. I was in the basement with my mother one Sunday afternoon, clearing old, misshapen coat hangers that he had used for fishing. And I cleared them from nail hooks that were embedded in the rafters. And I put them in a big plastic bag. And we probably spent an hour in that basement. I found old shoemaking equipment, among other things. And then, as I cleared what I thought were the last of the hangers, I heard a little tiny thud. And I was about 8 months pregnant at the time, but I was able to kind of awkwardly get down, and I picked it up. And it was a steel Band-Aid box, retailed at the Pill and Puff at some point in the last 40 years for about 83 cents. So I opened it up, and I saw a series of $50 bills neatly rolled inside. And before I could even count the $50 bills, I opened them up to see that there were $20 bills rolled inside of those. And if you've never been in an episode of The Sopranos, I can promise you it kind of feels like that. I opened the box, I looked at the bills, I gave it to my mother. She said a few swear words, and then we gave it to my husband. I was pregnant, very emotional. This house was a burden for me in some ways as well as a joy. $3,000 later, we decided to keep the money. The previous owner had died. He was the last of the family. We'd learned many of their secrets over the course of the years, and I understood why. We still have most of those $3,000. The steel Band-Aid box is about 10 rows back from here. But it turns out everybody's forgotten what a vintage 1960s era $20 bill looks like. Because when my 14-year-old son tries to spend it at Jimmy John's, they won't take it unless he brings an adult in the room. Thank you.
That was Angela McManaman from a 2016 Ex Fabula Story Slam with the theme Forgotten.
You know, I have never found money in any house nor apartment that I've lived in, but if I did, I have a requirement that it must be at least $10,000.
Oh my goodness. Well, have you looked? Have you looked that hard? Because you should look pretty hard to make $10,000.
I should. I need to look under all the cupboards and in all the cupboards and like in all the things and all the spaces, the crawl spaces. I gotta go back and look.
So yeah, especially if you're in an old place where they used to put money in the walls and stuff because they didn't trust the bank, because that's a thing. You know.
That is.
Yeah.
I live in like an old factory building or something. So
Yeah.
maybe there's money in one of the
Could be.
floors that we don't go to.
Somebody was embezzling or something, and they
I know.
they
Oh my
forgot to
gosh.
take it with them. Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Oh, my fingers are like, oh, let's go find something.
Okay.
That would be nice. If you had that much money, though, I mean, I know $10,000 is kind of relative depending on where you are and the times that we're in. But if you had $10,000 that you just found somewhere,
It's a
what would you do with
windfall.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'd put it away. No, I'd
What? And then you'd forget about it. Somebody else would find
I'd
it.
share it with you so you wouldn't have to be so cheap. How's that?
Joel came with jokes today. But okay, I'll take that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. What do you think? More ultra shorts?
I think that'd be great. You got one?
Sure. This is from Anonymous. In real life, I work hard for my money. I used to play the Sims computer game that allowed me to live a virtual life, building dream houses on beautifully landscaped lots, kitchens with trash compactors and granite countertops, living rooms with jacuzzis and 60-inch flat screens.
Wow.
Yeah. The thing is, my Sims never went to work. So how could they afford to live in such luxury? The answer? Hold down Control Shift and then type in motherload. 50,000 simoleons magically added to your funds. Welcome to the virtual 1%.
Oh, wow. I wish I knew that.
Yeah. It'd be nice if it worked now, right? Talk about a
It might.
keyboard shortcut. Yeah.
I do know some people who still play The Sims,
Yeah, okay.
so might have to give them that. This one's from Anonymous. When I was in my 20s, I was asked to take money and go bail a friend out of jail. While I waited, an officer called my name. And when I answered, I was told that I was under arrest for an unpaid ticket for fishing without a license. I was booked and used the bail money to get myself out. I laughed as I looked down at my friends from the cell waiting for me.
Oh, my goodness. Well, Kim, that's all the time we have for this episode of Real Stories MKE. But there's more storytelling where this came from. Ex Fabula has been around since 2009 and has plenty of audio and video stories available at exfabula.org.
The Ex Fabula website lists upcoming storytelling workshops and story slams, and you can check it out and then join us at an event. Share one of your stories with us. You can also connect with Ex Fabula on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. They get pretty funny over there. You can also listen to more Real Stories MKE episodes wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes, and thanks to everyone who makes this program possible, including Ex Fabula staff, the storytellers, of course, our producer JJ Draper, and audio engineer Sam Woods. Thanks,
Hey,
Sam.
Sam. For Real Stories MKE, my name is Kim Shine.
And I'm Joel Dresang. Remember, everyone has stories worth sharing. Think about telling yours.